DeMonze, let's get into Thursday Night Football. Tonight's game, what are we talking about?
All right, so the Vikings travel to Philly tonight to play the Eagles. Both teams struggled last week, but Philly managed to pull out the dub. Was this just week one rust, or do you expect these teams' issues to continue?
Okay, so for the Vikings, I think their offense will look better than it looked against Tampa, but I picked this team to miss the playoffs. I don't think it's a great team. Last year, I tried to tell it. Listen, to be fair, I was far from the only person saying they are winning all of these one-score games. It is not sustainable. And then riddle me that out of for week one of this year, they lose a one-score game. With that said, I think they have a very interesting opportunity tonight. That Philly secondary last year played 5 good to very good quarterbacks. All year, just 5. They scored an average of 33 points on that Philly defense. It was Goff, Trevor, Rodgers, Dak, Mahomes. This year, Philly, now they only allowed 20 points, but Mac Jones threw for 300 plus and 3 scores. What is it going to look like, DeMonze, when it's Justin Jefferson, and rookie Jordan Addison running back there? I think the Vikings are going to be able to score some points tonight. And so it's not me saying that I think the Vikings are going to win necessarily, but I'll tell you this much, and we'll talk about survivor pools later. I stayed away from Philly in survivor pools this week because I think that Philly secondary can get got. And I thought Jalen looked a little shaky in week one. DeMonte, go ahead. You looked like you were going to say something.
Well, yeah, I honestly just think that it's going to be a good game. I think that given the circumstances, it's pretty evenly matched.
But if it's evenly matched, that's a bit of an indictment, if you will, on where Philly is right now. And the person to watch on Philly is Jalen Carter, their rookie D tackle, who a lot of people thought was the single best player in last year's draft. He fell almost all the way out of the top 10 because of some really tough off-the-field stuff when he was at Georgia, and people were concerned about him. He was dominant, absolutely dominant in week one. But they lost Nakobe Dean with an injury. They lost a corner. The secondary was already shaky. So I think that if Cousins has time tonight, I think the Vikings can score a lot of points. And I think that there's a long article on ESPN right now about the number of hits Jalen Hurts has been taking and how often he's running. Remember, at the end of the Patriots game, he fumbled, which kind of opened the door for the Patriots to potentially win. They just couldn't close the deal. Philly is an interesting one to watch. The Super Bowl hangover can be real. They escaped with an important win in a tough environment on Sunday, but I'm very interested in watching them tonight. Go ahead.
So, I think you've kind of already answered the question. So, who do you think? Yeah. Who do you see turning it around? And also, actually,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
I'll just ask you this Andrew Ortiz question. He says Kirk Cousins in prime time will do more damage than the Eagles secondary. I guess
that's in play. Listen, that's in play, but I do think the Vikings are semi-desperate in week 2. If you think about the Vikings, their playoff game ended tragically in a one-possession loss. They blow a game to Baker Mayfield and the Bucs, and now last year wasn't Vikings-Eagles? I don't know if it was a Thursday night or a Monday night game last year, and that Kirk was the only, I guess you could say, above average quarterback the Eagles played last year and totally shut him down. I remember that game was like 23-7. So the Vikings just have a lot on the line here, and I think the Eagles will win. I would not lay the 6, and now that Eagles offense against a very suspect Vikings defense should be able to do some damage, but the Vikings brought in Brian Flores this offseason. The defense was okay in week 1. Baker evidently figured out the signals in that game in the second half, which is one of the reasons they had so much success. I'm excited for tonight's game, and I think it's a high-scoring one. Hey, thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button to get more from the show, and make sure to click the bell to get notified every time new content drops. Check out full episodes of What's Right wherever you get your podcasts, or just click the link in the description below.